Scotland had experienced over a week of great summer weather. Yeah, that's right, over a week. Almost unheard of. And we wanted to make the most of it, so we headed off, and first stop was, well, it was Tesco. And here's a shot of Tesco's. Yeah, not very impressive, is it? No mountains in that shot. I don't think the dog was even impressed when we stopped at Tesco. She was just keen to get up a hill and go for a walk, just showing no enthusiasm about Tesco. But anyway, soon we got going and we were heading towards the hills, and as you can see from this shot, the cloud was quite low down in the hills, and I was quite excited about this as there had been lots of inversions earlier in the week, but I wasn't too sure on whether we'd left it just a wee bitty too late in the day. Time will tell, and you'll see later in the video. Anyway, we arrived at the car park, got saddled up and started to head up the mountain. Hi folks, hopefully you can hear this. I've not got my microphone with me. I've just left my wife and my son. They're over there somewhere, and they're going to the loch, so I'm going to meet them down there. It's the last day of the sunny weather, and it's just beautiful. Look at this behind me, and you can see up over my shoulder there. Nice blue skies, but over here, there's still a bit of cloud, so the last few days there's been lots of fantastic inversions. I'll put some footage up here because I was lucky enough to be out both nights of the weekend and I had a fantastic time. So let's see, to be fair we're probably a bit late. It's 10 to 12, the cloud's risen above it I think, but we'll nip up here and see. Let's go. The initial plan was that I was going to head up the track with my son and my wife to a loch where we were going to sit and enjoy the sunshine. And my son and I were going to go and head up to the summit and nip back down to the loch to spend time there. But my son decided he wasn't going to come up to the summit with me, so I decided to take a direct route off the beaten track and just straight up the hill. And I'll talk a bit about that and the reason why I had the shorts on in a wee while. But yeah, it was tough going in this heat, and there was numerous wee stops to rehydrate myself and make sure I had enough water inside me. Oh, hey folks, just had a wee seat here, a wee perch looking back down, and it's hard work. I've got about 100 metres to go to the summit, but it's quick. It's quick up here. If I turn around, you'll be able to see where I've got to go up behind me there. But yeah, just try to blast up here so I can get down to the loch to see Lewis and Leanne, my wife and son. It's just a quick blast up here, as I said. I don't know if I'm going to get the inversion or not. The cloud's lifting even as I'm going up. You can see over there is Glass Mile. It's above the clouds, but the cloud isn't near it. So who knows what's going to happen, but time will tell. We'll crack on up here and hopefully get a view from the top of the cairnwell. Let's go. Wow. So the views to the north were, well, blue skies, as you can see. You'll be wondering why I was talking about an inversion, but if you remember back to that bit of footage when I was driving up, the skies to the south were covered in cloud, and as I headed towards the summit of the Munro, there was a wee bit more cloud, but yeah, it was wisping around the summit, and at this point I knew that the chances of me getting an inversion were, well, slim to none. I'd left it a little bit late in the day, but hey ho, it was still lovely, and I headed past the summit to get a wee perch with a grand view down the rest of Glenshee. Right, I've just come past the summit. I'm just sat in a lovely, this is the best view I think, right down Glenshee. I'll put some footage of it now and you can see right down, but the cloud has just cleared. Which is good timing really, because it's going to get sunnier now, but bad timing because the early bird catches the worm. And I know I looked at the webcam before I came up, I knew that the cloud was sitting further down in Glenshee there, but we're now at 12:30, so we've long missed all the worms, shall we say, but still absolutely lovely. So I'm going to sit here for 5 minutes and get cracked down to the wee loch, and I might go and dip my feet, let them cool off, because that was a good calf burner heading up that steep hill. Lovely. I sat for a wee bit longer and yeah, made sure again that I had enough water. Although we're in Scotland, when the weather is warm like this, you do still have to make sure you're getting enough fluids into the system, because dehydration and, well, perhaps sunstroke, believe it or not, can be an issue when you're exerting all that energy going up the hill. So sun cream and lots of water, there's a wee tip for you. So anyway, off I headed back over the summit, and then for the short hike down towards the loch. And I was quite looking forward to it because it was warm, and even though I had my shorts on, I was looking forward to dipping my toes into the loch. And I was just going to mention about the shorts. I hadn't planned on going across grassy, heathery terrain. I was going to be following the paths initially, but one of the reasons you hardly ever see my peely-wally legs is because of ticks. I very, very rarely wear shorts in the hills nowadays. So this is a rarity, and had I known I was going to be going across terrain like this, I wouldn't have worn them. Anyway, somebody was pleased to see me when I headed down. It wasn't my son or my wife, but the dog was super happy to see me, and yeah, she was running about the place and keeping nice and cool. That's another thing, if you've got your dogs with you, remember they can't sweat, or the only way they can cool down is by panting and water. So we made sure we had lots of water. I'm not sure she was too keen on my filming though. She just decided to turn around and well, show what she thought of it for a minute or two. Anyway, a wee sniff of the camera, and it was time to go in and dip my feet in the loch. It was lovely. The waters were shallow, and they were quite warm actually. Usually you can tell when you're in a Scottish loch, but this is a shallow loch, and there's actually some fish as well, which the dog was taking some keen interest in. Just try to get the fish. Get him. There's fish. Trying to get the fish. There's the fishes. So this was absolutely idyllic, and it was just lovely cooling my feet off in the loching, but we didn't go very deep. We made sure we could always see the bottom, and to be fair, I didn't go beyond my calves. My wife went up to her knees, but yeah, just be very, very careful when you're in any body of water. Don't go where you can't see the bottom, because a lot of these lochs have shelves which drop into very deep and cold water suddenly, where there can be currents and all sorts of hazards. Anyway, after the fish took an interest in the dog, they soon came over to me and they were nibbling my feet. A bit of a bizarre sensation. I can't say I've ever experienced that after hiking up a Munro. So I had my feet nibbled by the fish, and then we just loitered for a bit longer before heading to the side and to the shores of the loch, just to do a bit of sunbathing and have a bite to eat. Well, as you can see, made it down to the wee loch-in where my wife and son are. There's a lovely wee beach. It's not sandy, but it's nice, but the water's lovely. Really quite nice and warm. And there's lots of wee fishes that came up and they were nibbling away at my feet. But what a place on a day like today. I wouldn't go in too deep. We're not going for a swim. We're not experienced. I think you've got to be really careful when you go into any cold water, or any water where you're not too sure what lies beneath, and the cold water shock as well, which can be very serious. So, but that's relatively warm, and we just up to our knees, shall we say. Well, my wife was a bit braver. she went in a bit deeper than me, but I didn't get my shorts wet, put it that way. But yeah, it's absolutely glorious like this. Lovely. And there's lots of people up sunbathing, so yeah, summer in Scotland. Long may it continue. After about an hour or two, we decided it was time to head back down to the van, and take advantage of that Tesco stop essentially. So we packed up the bags and headed off back up the wee slope to the Belach before descending down the hill and back down towards the car park to the van, waiting with some food supplies for us, which we were all looking forward to. Right, back in the van now, and we stopped at Tesco's at Lairgowrie, which is about half an hour, 40 minutes down the road, to get some bacon and some Lorne sausage. So we're going to go and we're going to drive to the other end of the car park where it's nice and quiet, and yeah, have a wee picnic. The sun is still shining, and yeah, we're really looking forward to it. So time for some bacon butties and some coffee. We drove the short distance to the end of the car park, which has some nice views down the glen, and soon got the bacon on, and yeah, the coffee and cups of tea were made, and we just sat again in the van enjoying the views for a good 40-45 minutes, soaking up the last of the summer spell in Scotland. The following day the thunderstorms rolled in, and yeah, it was pretty grim for a wee while after this. So a wee tip: when the weather's good in Scotland, take advantage of it, because when the weather's good, Scotland's a great place to go. Hope you enjoyed the video, stay safe out there, and I'll see you on the next adventure.